welcome to episode 36 of the Lonely Knitter podcast. Hi, if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you for coming back. If you are a new viewer, welcome. Come on in to my crafty corner of the internet. My name is Laura and I am a yarn dyer and a yarn festival director from the most easterly town in England. I run my business from Folk Yarn Studio, and if you are a returning viewer, you will see that this is not Folk Yarn Studio. This is, in fact, my little corner of my bedroom. If you've been watching and it's in an episode, a few episodes back, where I was sat in this exact corner with a different look behind me, I built my bookcase. Yay! I now have a reading corner, but the plant obsession has continued, and this is now a reading and plant corner. So, anyway... It is Monday the 28th of July and I am recording from home this week because there is disruption at the studio again. I will go into that later on. It has been quite a while since I last recorded an episode because life has been frantic, and again I will go into that later on. If you are new here, the way that I work my podcast is a little bit of admin at the beginning, then we go into the things that I finished, the things that I'm making, the things that I'm planning on, then shop stuff, then I talk about what I've been watching, what I've been reading, and life in general at the end. So, right here at the beginning, the admin stuff. If you watch along with me today and you enjoy yourself, please consider hitting the subscribe button and the thumbs up and leaving a comment below. I would so appreciate it. If you would like to get chatting with our amazing community of crafty folk over in the Folk Yarn Studio Discord Hangout, there is a link below where you can go and join. It is full of lovely, lovely people, and I have not been as present in there as I would have liked to have been. I keep saying I want to get back into there, and life keeps throwing stuff at me. But I do aim to get back in there, checking in every day because I love that space. There's lots of lovely folk and I really enjoy it. So if you want to join, please do click the link below and head over. It's free, fun and friendly. I run a few make-alongs alongside the podcast. The first one is the 5 minutes a day crafting challenge. That is just a fun little thing that I do over on Discord where I am trying to post every day what I have been working on. And there has been some days recently when I haven't been able to work on anything and it sucks. So I'm going to try and get back in there a bit more, and I hope you will come along with me to do it too. Official Makealongs, I have the Friends That Grimble Together Makealong that I am running with my lovely friend Helen from the Giddy Yarns podcast. We are making gnome patterns, the knit patterns by Sarah Schira of Imagined Landscapes. It is an unofficial, obviously not the proper Makealong, because Sarah does run her own official gnome Makealong throughout the year. Ours will finish in September. My brain has gone to mush. You can join in at any point along the way. You just need to make a gnome. You can post it into my Discord, you can post it into Helen's Discord, you can be in with a chance of winning prizes, and both of those, and you don't have to knit a certain amount of gnomes, you could just make one. There are patterns available in the book, Gnomes of Grimblewood, which I do stock over on my website. There is also patterns available online from Sarah, and I believe there is also a free pattern. So yeah, come and gnome with us. I have a channel over on my Discord for the finished objects thread. If you make something that is 50% or more my yarn, be that Lonely Knitter Yarn or Folk Yarn Studios, Folk Yarn, if you post it into that thread, then you will be in with a chance of winning prizes quarterly when I draw from that thread. And the last one I'm going to talk about is a Makealong that I am running. That is the Advents of Summer Makealong. This is basically just a challenge to finish projects that are in any way tied to advent calendars throughout the summer, because I have advents that I have bought in previous years and hadn't had a chance to make anything with yet, or have had a little bit of decision paralysis with, and I wanted to use some of them up. They're all gorgeous. I bought them for a reason, and I want to be able to get advents in future years and not feel cross with myself that I haven't made anything with the ones from previous years. So yeah, we're making things. You just have to finish your advent project by the 14th of September to be able to enter it into a chance of winning prizes. It's very chill. Okay, I think that's all the admin. So I'm on to finished objects and I need to put my knitting down. But I just started a new needle. Okay, I actually have a finished object. It may not look finished because there are ends to be woven in, but I have given myself the treat of doing that straight after this video. I know a lot of you really like weaving in ends. Everyone always tells me, I love weaving in ends. Oh, I don't mind weaving ends. If I lived closer to you, I'd weave in your ends. Why do none of these people live on my street? I'm trying to be better with weaving in my ends, but I don't enjoy it. Anyway, I have a finished object and I'm not going to put it on for you now. only because I need to weave in these ends. I have a microphone on here. My dungies are going to look lumpy underneath. So straight after this video, I'm going to weave in my ends and I am going to try it on and take a little bit of B-roll, which hopefully you'll be seeing right about now. So I loved making this tea. This is the Tolsta tea by Rebecca Clow, who is the Crayabear over on Instagram and Ravelry and all the places. And I have quite a few ends to weave in because I decided not to try and carry my yarn throughout. So this is the inside because I've turned it inside out. I really like this pattern. It's very chill. The only thing I have to really think about is the short rows at the neck. Obviously it's inside out right now, so this looks weird because I was going to show you my ends. I have many ends. I do what is classed as the Weavin'-Stevens method. I resent calling it the Weavin'-Stevens method, very slightly, only a tiny bit. No beef with Stephen West. I think he's brilliant and I have knit lots of his patterns. But my grandma taught me how to weave in like this. My, family members, ladies in my local wool shop when I was like a kid. So, you might as well call it Weaving Eileen round here. It's basically that method though. Most people have heard of Weavin'-Stevens. So I have caught the yarn on in quite a few places and just pulled it along behind, but I want to do a little bit of extra secure up and down weaving in on all of these because I want this to last, and at the moment it looks like the end of a carpet. I made this from a Castleview Yarns weekly advent from last year. So last year Jen at Castleview Yarns had a Greatest Showman inspired advent calendar, weekly advent calendar. I think the daily would have been as well, but the weekly advent calendar is what I got. And I chose the DK weight, that's the front, and that's the back. I chose the DK weight one, so I had 4 skeins of DK weight yarn and I couldn't decide what to make, and I decided in the end to make a Tolsta tee and stripe it. So every 6 rounds I changed colour. So there are 6 rounds of each colour, and you can see, so this was week 1, week 2, week 3 and week 4. And I haven't actually gone that cropped with this jumper. I mean, you'll have seen it in the B-roll already anyway. And I still have quite a bit of yarn left. I did stick with the short sleeves. I made them slightly, I didn't really follow the pattern when it came to the sleeves. I split for the sleeves and then picked up the stitches and then just knit until I wanted to knit and then did a little bit of rib. I don't actually remember what the pattern said because I didn't read it. I just did what I wanted to do. I wanted a short sleeve tee and something that I could wear under my dungarees, and then I thought actually I'll go a little bit longer because I'd wear it with jeans and I want to be a little bit longer if I'm wearing it with jeans. And yeah, this is what I ended up with. I knit this on the way to Scotland. So one of the things I was going to talk about in life is that we had to take a sort of unplanned trip up to Scotland, and it was just myself and my husband, so it's 9.5 hours each way in the car. It's 500 miles exactly to where we had to go to Montrose. So yeah, I knit pretty much all of this in the car, there and back. And then I finished and I had taken my next whip that I will show you in just a minute and started working on that. So yeah, this is it. I love it. I love that pattern. It's nice and simple. It's nice and brainless. There's no shaping. There's no anything that I had to do. I made the 3rd size and I made it out of DK. And then in this bag, because I haven't found a place to put it yet, I have all of the leftovers. I actually haven't weighed them, but I have like a hefty little chunk of DK weight leftovers. This is 100% merino. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I'm going to do something with it because it's beautiful and I love it. Even if it just goes into paper chains that I will show you in a little while, and into other little scrappy bits, or gnomes maybe at some point. I don't know. Might need to find a new home for it at some point if I don't use the scraps, because I'm trying not to accumulate more and more and more scraps, but we'll see how we go. But yeah, I have a little chunk left. So that is the only finished object that I have to show you onto whips, and I will start with the one that I was working on at the start of this podcast. This is a sock. It is living in a Duckpool Lane sock bag that I have had forever, and I love. Socks on a washing line, and I have 2 cakes because it was 2 50-gram skeins, and I have nothing else. So this is, you can see the stripes in here. It's beautiful, this is the yarn badger. I am sure it is the yarn badger. I'm so sure. Basically, this got left out in my garage room. So we have like a little single detached garage, and we'd converted the back into a workspace for me a while back. When I say converted, it's a cube built into the back of the garage. We hadn't done anything structural because we don't know how to do that, and it sounds expensive. When I moved to the studio, a lot of my stash got left in there, not work stuff at all, but stash stuff. And it was sat there for quite a while, and unfortunately there was a bit of a moth issue. Not in the house, just in the garage room, only to stash. And I have been slowly removing it. I took it all out, put it all into plastic, and put it back in there in plastic, because there's no way I was going to bring it in my house and jeopardise anything. And there was no way I was taking it to the studio either. And then bit by bit, I've been taking it out and freezing it. So I took this out of the garage room and I froze it for a couple of days, and then thawed it out and started working with it. I have not got the tags. I don't know where they are. And this is a few years old. I think I got this at East Anglia Yarn Festival, and it would have been a couple of years ago. I love it. It's beautiful. I can very much recommend the Yarn Badger self-striping yarn. I think I'm just going to make tube socks again. In the last episode you saw I'd finished my advent calendar socks as part of my Advents of Summer Makealong, and obviously my Castle View Yarns Tolsta tee is my next finished thing for the Advents of Summer Makealong. And the tube socks actually fit me really nicely. I didn't need to cut in a heel, and I don't want to. And I thought I could do with another pair of those. I've been to the cinema a couple of times over the last few weeks, so this has just got the odd little bit of work on every now and then. It is stunning. So yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't know what the colourway is. I don't know if Liz over at the Yarn Badger still dyes this colour, but it's beautiful, and I would recommend you go and check her out for self-striping yarn, because yum. And yeah, I have the rest of this cake. I'm not going to go all the way to the end of the cake, but I reckon like another couple of inches and then I'll do a toe. I've gone through the whole colour repeat twice now, so yeah. I'm not going to change the colour for the toe either. I'm just going to keep on keeping on, and then I might start the second cake, and then I'll have two little leftovers. And both of my children want their own pairs out of this. It's sparkly as well. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. I don't think it's picking up. I might take a little bit. Oh, can you see there? Can you see the sparkles? I'm not sure. But yeah, both of my children want socks from the leftovers. So anyway, it is just a vanilla pattern. It's 64 stitches on 2.25mm ChowGoo needles. I am sure this is an 80cm cable. I have these in stock in my shop if you like ChowGoo needles or would like to try them out. And yeah, I love them. They are my go-to. I am working magic loop, and I'm not doing two at a time this time. I was going to do two. The stripes were enough to keep me going. I know I'm going to cast the second one on straight away as soon as I finish this one. And yeah, it's just my no pressure knit that is coming everywhere with me at the moment. Okay, my next whip is something that I said I was going to be done with, or at least this part of it was going to be done last episode, and it is not done. That is annoying. I realise that is annoying. I'm annoyed at myself. It's my Sweet Shop blanket. So my Sweet Shop blanket, which I'm making from the We Got This mini skein club. If you're getting it quarterly and you haven't had January, February, March. Oh no, you will have had the second quarter. So everyone should well and truly have had this by quite a long time up to where I am on this blanket. So it's a Sweet Shop blanket. I'm making it from the We Got This mini skein club. Here we go. This is where we are. And I still haven't finished June's. I am on the last square for June. And I am cross at myself that I haven't finished it. I worked on it a little bit this weekend. I've done the colour section. It's just the grey section. And yeah. July's clubs, I have put this is on a banner on my website, and I put it into the Discord group and a couple other places. July's clubs have partially shipped. They will be shipped in full by the end of the month, but I've had a lot of stuff happen that has derailed me this month, and I am so sorry. There is a note and a discount code, a little apology from me in every single parcel that is going out, because I am very cross that it has happened. It isn't what I would want to happen. I know that, I've had so many lovely messages, and I know they're July's clubs, and a lot of people say they ship out by the end of that month. I give myself a self-imposed target of the 15th of the month for the We Got This Mini Skein Club and the 21st of the month for the Magical Worlds Club. It's what I aim for every month, and this month a whole bunch of stuff has gone badly wrong and everything kind of ground to a halt. But I will talk about that in live stuff at the end because a lot of people aren't interested in the drama. So yeah, I am going to finish this today. I am going to finish this today. I don't care when I do it. I don't care if I have to stay up super late. I am going to finish this today because it is the tiniest bit of a square and I am decreasing. But also I have my July minis set aside. I don't let myself use them until everybody's have been posted out and are well on their way. And then I need to start putting in July because it's nearly the end of July. And then August is going out early. Everyone's getting their August shipments early because I'm taking a week off with my children in August. And I want everything gone before then. So yeah, it's all been a bit chaotic. So the blanket is not at where I want it to be, even though I love it and I want it. It's just time, guys, just time. It's been in this bag right from the beginning and I love it still and it still fits. So it's not going anywhere. Lay Family Yarn, lovely hand-dyed yarn company, and they had these, I think it was at Yarndale last year. I might be totally wrong, but they are woven with their hand-dyed yarn. Gorgeous. There's an ocean's tin in there. I am continuing to wind all of the leftovers. I don't weigh how much is left over of each 20 gram mini. I don't know why. I am not that smart. But I am continuing to wind all the leftovers into a magic knot ball. If you can see. But in here is every scrap that did not get knit into the blanket in the ball. And at the end of the year, I will have a big magic knot ball and then I'm going to knit through it and I'll have all the colours coming out in reverse order. Maybe I'll crochet. I don't know what I'm going to make. Not another blanket. Maybe another blanket. Got to finish this blanket first and that's not going well. Anyway, that's my next whip. And the last whip that I have to show you, no one's allowed to say anything about the fact that on my last episode I'm sure I talked about working on other things and I seem to have forgotten all of them. My last whip that I have to show you is so tiny that I can barely show it, but I'm showing it anyway. I knit a little bit on this. So these are the paper chains that I was making with a Scrappy Advent swap. So they look like these. They are just like 10 stitches and you slip the edge stitches so that they're neater, and then you make a giant buttonhole. It's not going to focus. There we go. At one end, so a button on the other, and that way you've got paper chains and you can take them apart and store them flat so that they don't get all squished out of shape. And I have this one, which I think was probably finished last time anyway because I can't remember when I finished it. But yeah, and I have a bag full of little, I'm not going to tip that up because it's just going to be a disaster. In here there is another bag. It's all come out. It all really is a disaster already. There's another little pouch in here that is full of little balls because every year during Advent we have a swap, my little lovely group of friends, and every year we swap little, either are they 5 or 10? I think they're 5 gram scraps of yarn that we've got left over from our projects and have an Advent each. We do it Secret Santa style. I just need to make the buttonhole here. I think I'm there. I think I'm up. Yeah, I'm at buttonhole stage because it measures with that one. But I can't remember exactly what I did and I like how I did it here. So I need to have a proper look at it and replicate it. So I know I've done a couple of stitches on this since the last time I recorded. But then I put it down because I couldn't remember what I did with the buttonhole and then I didn't pick it back up. This is attached to a bit of yarn that is nothing to do with anything. This is living in this super cute little winter mittens bag, and this is an Advents of Summer project for me. It's my Scrappy Advent swap with my friends, so I do still have a Advents of Summer project on the needles. And yet this bag is from Castleview Yarns, and I am using, I actually can't remember what size these are. I'm using 2.75mm ChowGoo DPNs. Again, shameless plug, I do have these in my shop if you are interested, but I like to have little short needles. Excuse my nails, I've been playing in soil. I like to have short needles for little projects like this. I don't particularly want to have it on a circular and have a cable in the middle. And all I do is grab a set of DPNs, pinch out 2 and pop needle stoppers on the ends. So I've got these, which again, I think I have these in my shop at the moment. I pop these on the ends and now I have 2 short needles and they are nice and dinky, and they don't stick out of the bag because they're small enough to be able to fit. So yeah, my aim before next episode is to remember what I was doing with the buttonholes, or work it out again if I can't remember, and finish that one paper chain and write the notes down of what I did and put it in the bag so I don't forget again. Okay, so that is all of my finished objects and whips. So I'm going to go on to plans now. I'm not making any. Life has been so incredibly chaotic, and I mean incredibly chaotic. And I have felt so overwhelmed and so like I'm just going to implode, that I need to not make myself more stressed. Because at the moment, everything in my life, work-wise, everything, I am managing, and I'm stressed, but I'm managing. And I don't want to drop any balls more than I already have. I want to keep going, and I don't want to put any more on my plate, especially with things that I love and that are meant to be the most fun bits in my life. So the things that you've seen here today, I'm going to try and keep going on those because they are out and in my eye line and staring at me, and see how I go. This is the point where I normally talk about a featured product. I am at home, not at the studio, and I don't have the featured product for this week with me, so I am going to send you to Laura of the future. Laura from the future here. I am at the studio. I am sorry if you can hear seagulls, and I am sorry if there is noise out and about around me that is annoying. I'm here. I have forgotten to clip my microphone on. I've left a little magnet at home because I am disorganised, so I hope this in my hand is not too annoying. And I've come to show you a little featured product. When I got in, I couldn't decide. Oh, I'm not comfy. I'm too old to kneel like this anymore. So when I got in, I decided to talk about a few little needle stoppers again, because I had a really good time talking about them previously when I showed some other ones. So today I am going to share with you these little cuties. So I have 2 sets of needle stoppers that come in different colours, but they're the same. So they are these super cute little bookcase with a plant. Books and plants, guys. Bookcase and a plant needle stopper sets. I have them in a lovely cream colour and a brown colour, whichever wooden bookcase colour takes your fancy. And they are available on the website, and the link is below. And I use my needle stoppers all the time. I in fact have these ones at the moment, and I love them. So I thought I'd talk to you about them. Also, Laura from the future remembers that Laura in the past did not talk about one thing in life stuff, so I'm going to say it now, which is that I am in the process of trying to change this space. I know I might have talked about it on the podcast before, but I've had a few issues with stuff going on in the building, which has meant that I've not been able to work, and it's actually really messed with my business a few times. And yeah, there's been a lot of upheaval here at the studio, here at work, and it sucks for me. So it has messed with an awful lot of the things that I have tried to do and get done, and it has meant that things have been on the go slow for a little while, and I am in the process of doing my absolute best to relocate. So yeah, that is part of the chaos that has been going on for the last few months. And I forget to talk about it later because I talk about 1,001 other things. And this podcast episode is going to be crazy to try and edit because it's going to be really long. If you like the look of these needle stoppers, they are over on my website along with lots of other goodies. And I would love it if you would consider taking a look. But if not, no worries. It's just a little extra thingamabob that I have going on in my shop. I like to talk about a feature product because there are lots of things that I have here at the studio that are not things that I make, and they all have a place within my business, and I love to share them with you. So yeah, needle stoppers this week, and I have no idea what I'm going to talk about next week. I'm going to send you back to Laura of the past for the rest of this podcast episode. I'll see you later. Hi. I hope you had fun with me of the future. Okay, so I am going on to watching and reading and life stuff. So if this is where I lose you, thank you so much for joining me. And if you are sticking with me, let's get chatting. So, watching. I haven't been watching a lot of anything, to be honest. We did go and see a movie a few weeks ago with the children. We went to see Elio. I'm pretty sure it was Elio. I can't remember much about it because it's a few weeks ago and life has been chaos. I know I cried in the cinema. Yeah. Life has been a lot recently and I am on an emotional edge. And I remember there was a bit about it that was lovely and I cried. Yeah. I have also been to see the F1 movie with my lovely mum. We went to see it, I think it was like the last day that it was in the Odeon. I thought it was really good. Yeah, it was good. I cried in that one as well. Reading, I have finished listening to Jimmy Carr's book. It was Before and Laughter, Jimmy Carr. And not only actually have I finished reading to it, I've pretty much done it twice because I was about an hour off of being finished and we went on this kind of unplanned trip to Scotland and had a very long drive, and I think the whole book was like 6 hours and it's more than 9 hours for us to get there, so we listened to the entire book on the way to Scotland, and we started from the beginning because Chris hadn't been listening to it. So yeah, we listened to a whole audiobook and it was good. We laughed. It was all right. Yeah, I didn't enjoy it as much the second time round just because I'd only just listened to it, but I still thought it was good. And also I fall asleep in the car, so I definitely fell asleep through some of the bits I'd already heard before. I have started listening to And Away by Bob Mortimer, which I had to fight really hard there because I want to say And Away. It's his autobiography, read by him. It's interesting and funny, but we've listened to about a third of it on the way back from Scotland, and we ended up switching over to a podcast that Chris likes because he was doing the majority of the driving. And yeah, it was, I'm not going to lie, his voice was putting me to sleep, not in a boring way, just in a like lulling me off to sleep sort of way. It's all right, and I will go back to it, and it's just nice, and he's funny. But yeah, I've not been in the right headspace, I think, to listen to books and focus on things at the moment. And I haven't been reading my paper books or my Kindle books because life has been chaotic, and I'll get to that in a bit. But as I said before, I will just talk about books when I start them or finish them, because otherwise I'm just repeating myself every time with, there's this book and I haven't read much of it. Okay, we're into life and wider stuff. Oh, there's yarn show news. So the applications, I've dropped a stitch. No. I've got it. The applications for East Anglia Yarn Festival 2026, which is March next year. How are we talking about March next year already? That is the yarn show that I run in Norwich at the Norfolk Showground Arena every March. And yeah, please do come along if you fancy it. We had over 2,000 people come for the last couple of years, actually. We have more than 80 vendors. They are amazing vendors. And everything about it I think is brilliant, but it is my show, so I am biased. Yeah, the applications had opened and then they had closed. I left the applications open for 2 months. So they closed since I have last podcasted, and the vendor selections have been made, which is the hardest job and I hate it. And I have a very simple process that like works through everything, and it's, yeah, there's no... you don't get in if you're friends with me, and I hate that. It makes me really like, yeah. The whole making decisions feels very personal to a lot of people, and it really isn't personal. And yeah, it's my worst bit of my job, but you got to take the rough with the smooth, and someone's got to make those decisions, and it's very hard. I'm so grateful to everyone that applied. I had more applicants than I could take by quite a long way again this year, and I'm so grateful for it. Yeah, I have made all the decisions. We have sent out the emails to everyone now, so everyone knows the decisions for next year, but the vendor list does not go live for a bit longer, and I do ask all the vendors to try and keep it under their hats because it's nice to have a sort of big reveal. Yeah, but plans are massively underway, and that's one of the reasons that I haven't been knitting that much. Onto the more lifey life stuff. Oh, first thing, I got glasses. I'm not 100% sure about these glasses, but I am being brave and wearing them on the internet. I'm not being brave and wearing them on the internet. I'm wearing them because the other ones hurt my face. I have these ones, which I really like. And I like, oh, I'm throwing these ones on the floor. I really like these glasses, and now I feel weird wearing them because I've been wearing these ones for too long. I'm still getting used to my facing glasses, and I like these glasses a lot, but the plastic obviously touches my nose all the way up here and all the way down here, and I've been wearing them pretty much non-stop, and my nose hurts. And I got these ones, and they have the little tabs to go on your nose, and they don't hurt, and I'm not sure they suit me. Chris keeps telling me I look like Deirdre, from, is it Deirdre? Because I think he started off saying Dot Cotton, but he meant Deirdre. I can't remember. Yeah. I'm not sure I can pull glasses off, but it's kind of tough. And now that I'm wearing them, it's the difference between seeing in HD and not. I'm getting used to it. I was really shocked during the eye test, actually, that I couldn't read the bottom lines on things, and I've not had that before so badly, so really surprised. But apparently it's just age, and that's okay. I'm 35 now, got my glasses. Yeah, I was actually prompted to go and get glasses by something else though. I've been struggling in low light for a while and with headaches for a while, and I do have to look at screens a lot with my job. But I was like, oh, I'll get an eye test at some point, and hadn't gone and got one. And then I had a phone call from the health visitor, because if you're here in the UK and you have young children, the health visitors and the community health visiting team go into schools, and they went into school and they gave me a call and said that he got flagged up because he couldn't pass the eye test with his left eye. So could I take him for an eye test? So I took him to an optician's, and they said, yeah, he has got needs to wear glasses, but we need to get him back for another eye test because it was nearer the end of the day, and they wanted him to come back in and have eye drops. So we went back a week later when they could next get us in, and he did not like the eye drops, but he took it like a champ, and his vision is actually a lot worse than they first thought that it was, and specifically in one eye, and the other eye I've been compensating. So we now have to go back in 3 months, and then I think they will assess whether or not they then change it. Basically, he has quite a high need, but they can't put him straight onto that full prescription because the other eye needs to adjust as well. And yeah, if they put him onto his full prescription from nothing, he wouldn't be able to see anything. So he's got his first glasses. He looks so cute. He suits glasses so much, and he's got those. And he goes back in 3 months and has another eye test. And if he's adjusted enough to those, he'll get his next prescription and he'll get a whole new set of glasses. And I am, again, very grateful for the NHS. I say this quite a lot. I know the NHS has a lot of problems, and I know there is a lot of issues, etc., etc. But they provide vouchers for 1 pair of glasses for every prescription for children. But yeah, he's going to be a full-time glasses wearer from now on, and that's also meant that I have been wearing mine more than I potentially would have. I mean, I probably would be wearing them full time because it's lovely, and it's so much nicer to see like this than it is without them. But he's got to wear them full time, and I want him to feel really good about that. So I want to, I'm doing it with him. I got my eyes tested the week after he did. So yeah, now he has to wear his from when he gets up in the morning and all day, and so he puts his glasses on, and if I'm not wearing mine, he'll go, I'm having a moment, if I'm not wearing mine, he'll go, Mummy, you're not wearing your glasses, and I'm like, oh no, sorry mate, and I'll put them on. So he's being better at it than I am. That's the glasses update. Just before we heard about Alfie's eyesight from the health visitor, I am dealing with quite a lot of guilt about Alfie's eyesight because I didn't know, and he'd never said anything, but then why would you say anything if you didn't know yourself, because that's all you've ever lived with. And there's been times in the car when a tractor's gone past and I've gone oh look Alf, a tractor, and he's gone where, and I'm like right there, and he's like I can't see it, and I've gone be more observant, or look when I say. And yeah, Turns out the poor guy couldn't actually see, and I'm just a bad mum. Yeah, I know there's nothing I could have done, and I didn't pick it up, and that's so sad because I'm with him every day, and yeah. But yeah, we got the first pair of glasses, and he was thrilled, and he was pointing out things that he could see that he couldn't see before, which is crazy because it's still not his full prescription, and he's getting that much help from them. And then he asked if we could go and see the Minecraft movie in the cinema. And I said, mate, we saw the Minecraft movie in the cinema when it first came out. And it's not in the cinema anymore. It's on the TV. And we've seen it on the TV. And he goes, yes, but I want to see it in the cinema because when we went to the cinema, I couldn't see it. And it turns out that all these little trips he's had to the cinema in his life, and he couldn't see the screen very well, and he never told us. So, yeah. Kind of heartbreaking, but also crazy cute. So before we found out about Alf's eyesight and then me getting glasses, we'd had a bit of a rough time because Alfie got quite badly hurt at school by a child in his year group who has hurt Alfie quite a lot of times throughout his time at school. But they are all very young, and they are all learning, and they all come from lots of different experiences, and you know, they're all COVID babies as well, so socialisation in the first few years might not have been as much, but we did end up having to ask for some help because it got very significant. Alfie was I was really debating on whether or not to share this on the internet, and I thought, well, I have nothing to be keeping a secret of. I'm not wanting to cause a witch hunt against another child or anything like that. It's a very hard and horrible situation, and we're just going to do our best to distance ourselves from this child as much as possible and just support Alfie. But I also thought there's mums out there who I know will be dealing with the same sort of things, and I have felt very alone dealing with all this as a parent, and I haven't been alone, but you do feel it. And I just thought maybe sometimes talking about stuff like this can make one other person feel less alone, because I know if I was watching a video right now and someone was talking about something similar, it would make me feel not better, because I don't want anyone else's child to have to go through anything either, but just feel less alone. So, yeah, he was randomly out of the blue attacked. So my little boy is very quiet and very into the rules, and he's a good little boy. I know everyone thinks their kids are perfect. I'm not one of those mums. I'm one of the ones who's like, they're perfect, but they're kids. So good luck, you know? But my little boy is very naive at this age and very innocent, and he doesn't like to get in trouble, and he really likes the rules, and he's such a little sweetheart. And he was looking for ladybirds on the edge of the playground on his own, and this child who had become dysregulated ran over to him and kicked him in the mouth, splitting his lip open. He's now got his first wobbly tooth, and then followed it with a punch to the nose, and he had like a big bruise across the top of his nose. Ugh, sorry. Quick moment there to gather myself up, because I'm still a wobbly mess, it appears. Yeah, so Alfie was quite badly hurt, and the school have dealt with it, and we had some concerns of how it was dealt with initially, and it ended up with a lot of fallout for Alfie. Worked with the school. I have no want to have any kind of effect on that other child. I don't want anything. I just want my little boy to be safe and happy, and the school worked their butts off to do their best they could for, I believe, everyone, I'm sure. Fingers crossed, in September, none of this continues, but we're in the school holidays now, so we've got a nice chunk of break time, and Alfie's having a great time, and both my kids are with their grandma, my mum, today, and having a great time, I'm sure, hopefully, fingers crossed. She's not absolutely run ragged. Yeah, they'll be having a wonderful time, and it's summer holidays, and we don't have to think about it for a while. But yeah, the mental toll it took on me, which is really bad, because here I am prioritising my mental health here on my podcast, when actually I wasn't the one who got attacked. But yeah, I have been a mess for ages. Pretty much from when that happened, I have totally gone into a little cocoon and mainly been focusing on plants, my children, and just spending time with them. And it's, yeah, I kind of went into shutdown. It's like whenever anything gets too mentally too much, I just go and I look at what's right in front of me and I focus on that. And so that was my children and then houseplants. So I'm trying to pull myself back out of it and stop wallowing. I'm struggling to forget it. Last time I recorded, I said I was going paddleboarding for my birthday. You probably all thought that I went paddleboarding in Alton Broad, fell off and was never seen again because I didn't ever come back. I went paddleboarding on my birthday. So my birthday was back in June, and I have this new tradition that I'm starting, that every year on my birthday I am doing something new, pushing myself out of my comfort zone. This year I went paddleboarding. Last year I went on a motorbike taster session and then ended up learning to ride a motorbike, and now I ride a motorbike. I don't own a paddleboard yet. Note the yet. I think I said last time that I'm going to look stupid on a paddleboard. I'm sure I did. I have a picture. I'll put it in. But I had the best time. When I went out on the water, there wasn't a lot of other people around. It was just me and the instructor because no one else signed up for the class. And it was just lovely. It was so calm. It was so peaceful. You can't think about anything else because you're focused on what your body's doing at that exact moment. It's like riding a motorbike. It gives me the exact same type of zen, that you're so focused on what every little bit of you is doing and your balance and everything, that there's no time to get anxious and there's no time to worry about the things that you're worrying about in day to day. And it was brilliant. And I had a great time, and I did fall off, but only once. And he did say I had to. He was like, you're going to have to fall off because I need to teach you how to get back on your board if you fall off in open water. And I said no, and he laughed. And in the end, I did fall off. So yeah, had a full submerge in Alton Broad. It was one of the hottest days of the year on my birthday, and it was wonderful. It was like a bath. The water was warm. It was lovely. And then when I get back on the paddleboard, I was just cool. Didn't fall off again. He showed me how to get back on. I got back on. A little while later, he said, do you want to fall off / jump off again so you can practice one more time? I was like, no, I'm good. I'll stay up here. Anyway, I loved it. It was brilliant. I haven't been again since. It's been more than a month. I haven't been again since. That is because for me to go, I would need to buy a paddleboard, because I would go in the summer evening. So right now it gets dark, like 9 o'clock. My children, if they've had a really run around crazy day and I've run them ragged, can go to bed for like 7:30. And I could grab my paddleboard, go down to Alton Broad and get an hour and a half in before it started to get dark. And I would have great fun. But the paddleboards that I think I need for like my weight and size, I can get an inflatable one because I don't really have any space to store one that isn't an inflatable one. They're like 150 to 250 pounds. And I'm not saying they're not worth it because I don't know what paddleboards are worth. I don't necessarily want to buy a second-hand one off someone I don't know in case they have punctures. And I don't really have that sort of money at the moment to spend on a paddleboard. So it's a no for this year. Last few things. I have a planty update for you. The plant situation has got a little out of hand. Here is Smeagol. Smeagol was in last episode. Is it going to focus? No, just wants to focus on me. Come on, there we go. That's better. I feel like Smeagol has got bigger. I'm pretty sure. I did a little comparison myself to last episode, and I feel like we now have two very tall, chonky bits, rather than just one quite so tall, chonky bit. And there is lots of little babies in there. Smeagol is still in soil. A lot of my other plants are not in soil. I've moved them over to pond. We're in semi-hydroponics, less soil in my house. I love this plant. It is the Gollum jade plant. It's the one I showed last time that I got from M&S for £6, and it is still alive. I have kept it alive. But as you can tell, more plants have happened. I've gone down a planty rabbit hole and I'm not sorry. And they're all alive and quite a lot of them are thriving and I'm having my best time, and we might start seeing a bit more planting. And I thought we could feature a plant every now and then if they still stay in my life. This is weird, I know it's weird, but I brought two tiny little guys. Yesterday I moved a begonia into from soil into semi-hydroponics, into the stones that I grow my plants in. I might put a little bit too much water in this one. This might die. This is Phil Mitchell. This is Grant Mitchell. I'll put in a little B-roll, but when I was potting up my polka dot begonia, this little tiny plant, and I mean tiny, it had a tiny root. Can you see? So this tiny little plant was in there, and I was like, I need it to survive, and if I repot it in with the big guy, it might not survive. I've used Pon, and I've put him in here, and I want to see if he'll grow. And once I'd finished potting up, I realised I'd left this little guy out with some of the soil, and he was about to get thrown away. I feel so bad. So he has 2 leaves, and one is a bit mangled, but he has got some roots. These are not water roots. I've only just put these in water and pond yesterday. So this is a little bit of one of my begonias. He's sitting in between this man's legs, and I sat looking at them both and I was like, they need names, because if they had names, they'd have so much more of a chance of survival, so I wouldn't forget them. So this is Phil and this is Grant. And I thought I'd give you some little planting updates if they survive. And if they do survive, then I've got a massive begonia downstairs, 2 little ones. I don't need 3 begonias. Maybe someone could adopt Phil and Grant if they survive and grow. We'll see. I might have to keep Phil because Phil's very cute. Someone can adopt the big guy. Peggy. The big guy can be called Peggy. Yay! The plant obsession has gone a bit crazy. Right after the last video I recorded, the children who were really getting into the plants asked if they could give planty presents to their teachers for the end of year, and I let them propagate my string of turtles, one of my begonias, and that begonia actually, I think it might have been. Yeah, I let them propagate my string of turtles, that begonia, and spider plants, couldn't remember the plant. Basically, my lovely friend Mandy, who comes to my knit night at the studio, had given me a massive mama spider plant. She had 2. She said, would I like one? She brought it in. I thought it was going to be a little thing. It's huge, and there are babies coming off it everywhere. It has pride of place on my shelves at the studio now, and I love it to pieces. And my children plucked off a bunch of spider plants, put them all into water, grew water roots. They had the best time every day at breakfast, sitting with their little baby spider plants and watching and talking about how the roots were growing in there. And then we potted them up and they gifted them. But we've been having a lot of fun with it. I have got some plants I really love. I've been gifted some plants by some lovely friends, and I'm just really enjoying myself. It's become a bit of a Pokemon thing. It's like I'm going to try and collect them all. I love the idea. I'd seen a couple of other YouTubers had done this thing where they swapped with people. So they took a cutting from one of their plants and grew it into a plant, and then swapped it with someone else for a cutting from their plant. How rare they could swap if they like continued swapping. And I love that idea. I really want to do that. But at the same time, I'm like, I couldn't let go of a plant that I'd swapped for, because then I'd be like, no, but my plant. So I'd have to grow it and then take a cutting from that and then grow that and then swap that. And it would take years. It would take years. I'm going to do some little planty chat, separate things, because I'm very aware that a lot of folks probably aren't into plants, and that is totally fine because it wasn't my thing either. And I've just gone a bit full on hyperfocus. And now this knitting podcast has turned into a plants podcast, and that is not what we're about, so I'm going to stop. But yeah, it's been quite a long one today, and it's going to take me a while to edit, but if you've joined me through all of this, thank you so much. And I'm so sorry I've been AWOL, and I will continue to try and do my best, and I'm really hoping that everything's going to calm down. And I have a really cool plant at the studio that I found some bugs in the soil, and it was really scary because I haven't repotted that one yet. And I took some cuttings off of the plant. This is a Monstera elbow. I took some cuttings off of the plant to bring home and propagate in water, in the hope that I don't lose my plant entirely, because it's a really cool plant. So I'm going to go and put these in water because they've calloused over now. I'm going to weave in the ends on that jumper, and then I've got some orders to pack, and I've got to get working on clubs, and once everything is totally finished, I'm going to edit this and put it online. Plants. So yeah, me and my plants are going to go off and do some stuff, and I will see you in a week, and it will be a week because I want it to be a week. I'll see you later, and thank you so much for making me so much less of a lonely knitter.